sure there's a lot of you guys and gals out there that are like me and you just don't have an unlimited budget to feed all your hobbies, and you know, that's alright. Probably also like to do stuff with your hands. I do too. And I find that, you know, not having a huge budget and liking to make stuff works out pretty good sometimes. They go hand in hand. So I've had a couple of people ask about the spotter setup I've got here, and my last video I promised that I'd talk a little bit about it, so I guess I'll do that. I'll whip it off the tripod here real quick. If I can remember how. I've got too many knobs on this stuff. A lot going on. So what I've got here is one unit that holds my binoculars, my laser rangefinder, timer if I want, add on the little windy ribbon things, and slaps right on any tripod that's got the standard Arca Swiss rail. And I built this a couple of years ago because, well, I was just getting into shooting and thought it'd be awfully cool to have all this stuff all packaged together here. I have one thing that I could carry around and one piece that held everything on there. And one time I had grand plans to have my Kestrel and all that other stuff on here, and I didn't get around to it. But what I actually have here is, let me pull this off of here real quick. And I can take my binos off too. And that's just going to auto eject off of there. What I've got here is a DSLR camera cage. I learned that's what they're called. I never knew. I just kind of started poking around the old eBay and, you know, found these things. And there's a bunch of different brands. They're mostly, probably all imported from China. And so, you know, it is what it is. But if you buy off of the old eBay or Amazon or whatever, you can get a pretty good deal on it. This outer cage part here, that runs about 20 bucks or so. I've added another Arca clamp on top of here. You got another 10 bucks in that. This Arca L bracket on the bottom. This is what I use to clamp in the ball head of my tripod, and then it's the little L piece on the front. Keeps the binoculars from shooting right off the front of there if they ever did get loose. And that's, I don't know, 10 bucks or something. And the most expensive part is the binocular, actual bino rest in here. This is a Bog Pod Bino rest. And again, you can get these all over. I think this one came off of Amazon. So, you know, spend 10 minutes on the internet, stick some of this stuff in your shopping cart, wait a couple of weeks till it all shows up. Get your screwdriver out and you can slap together one of these. And if you're like me, you don't like all your gear being all black and factory looking, so get yourself a can of spray paint. This is Rust-Oleum Dark Taupe? I don't think that's actually a word. It's number 241-238. Satin Dark Taupe. I'll just call it brown. I like flat dark earth colored stuff, or coyote brown, and this is as close as you can get on a budget. It matches pretty well, so spritz some of that on there and you got yourself a custom spotting rig. I've got the tippy tappies of the dog upstairs here. She must think it's lunchtime. But, you know, all together, we got less than 100 bucks in this. Far less than 100. Most expensive part's going to be the binocular rest on here. You know, maybe there's some other options out there. I've seen a few. When I was setting this up, the Bog was kind of about the only thing going, so that's what I used. And little feedback on this. I've had this about 2 years, and one of the little metal pegs on the strap here tore out last month or so, and so I emailed the Bog folks and asked if they'd sell me a replacement strap. I didn't see that on their website, and wouldn't you know it, about a week later a whole new rest showed up in my mail. So kudos to those guys. They did a good job on that. So, you know, you can configure this stuff however you want. There's lots of options out there. Poke around. The other thing I added on here is these little magnets, and this is a phone magnet. I use the same thing in my truck to hold my phone on my dash. I just chopped the magnet off of one and glued a JB welded a little 1/4-20 stud on there, and that screws right in there. So I can stick my phone on the side of there if I want. Got a timer, stick your timer on there. Options are pretty endless. So that's what this thing is. Another pro tip for you guys trying to save some money: if you do shop the old eBays or Amazons, find the pieces you want and sign in, chuck them in your shopping cart, and then just let them set for a while. After a week or so, I don't know, the old internets figure out what's going on, and they're going to give you some discounts on some stuff. So I found a lot of times if you just put stuff in your cart and you leave it there, it's not very long before you get an email from the seller or the vendor saying, hey, we'll give you another 10% off or whatever on there. So you can save some money doing that. That's what I did. So that's what I've got going on here. As far as binos go, these are a pair of 10x50 Athlon Midas. These are great binoculars. If you're in the NRL22 game, which is what this is primarily used for, 10 power, that's probably about the most you want. If you've got some stages you're set up as close as maybe 25 yards and some out to 100. If you get any above 10 power, you're going to have a real hard time seeing both the near ones and the far ones kind of in the same shot without jockeying around a little bit. So 10 power is plenty good for the NRL22 game. If you get out there a little further, the regular PRS stuff, maybe 15 power would be a little better. And some people like the actual spotting scopes. I find that it's a lot of times too powerful to be able to see the trace that I want, and after I spend about an hour or so one eye in through a spotting scope, my head really starts to hurt and I can't see what's going on anyhow. So I find using the binoculars with both eyes really helps with that. So that's my setup. I like to see other people's stuff too. I know there's a zillion different ways to do this, but you know, I thought it'd be cool to have one complete package, and that way when the kids dump over my tripod and all falls on the floor, I break everything I own all at once. So yeah. Anyway, thanks again for watching. I sure do appreciate it. If there's any other questions or anything you guys like to know about, I don't mind talking about it. So thanks again. Have a good one.